We had our opportunities in the game. You have 2 turnovers inside your 25-yard line. You give up 14 points, 2 critical fourth down plays, lack of being able to run the football, too many penalties in critical situations. Obviously, John went in a gutsy performance on his part. Very proud of him and his effort, and was very a guy that really laid it on the line. We couldn't get him under center to do some of the things we want to do. We knew that going into the game. We felt like we had some things in the throwing game, and that's why we stayed with what we wanted to do in that situation. We got to find some ways to run the football. But, that's just we cannot be so one-dimensional, and that's something we've got to work on. We got a turnover inside the 10. We end up with 2 sacks. We're out of field goal range. So those are very frustrating to deal with. But we had our opportunities. We've got to, in the last 2 ball games, we've got to close it out and win those games. So injuries during the game. Cody Riggs had a wrist injury, should be fine as far as I know, just was out the rest of the game. Lorente McCray, before the game, Caleb Sturgis strained his leg and during the week of practice and went out to pregame and did not feel like he could go. Chaz Green hurt his ankle at practice on Wednesday, went to, in the walkthroughs this week, didn't think he could go. Mike Gillis' ankle from the Auburn game is still hindering him from being able to cut loose and play. So disappointed, obviously, had our opportunities, we didn't get it done. Well, there's no question it affects the run game. When you're in the gun so much and you run the ball so much east and west, you need to be able to run the ball downhill. And when you're in the gun, it's hard to run the ball consistently downhill. And so, but again, is limited with his ankle, but we felt like he gave us the best opportunity to be successful in the game. So that's what we went with. And, again, I do it again. John played well. We got to, just got to figure out how we can run the ball a little bit more effectively. Well, Jarvis is a good player. He's a good rusher. He's their best rusher. He did a nice job. But, again, in those situations, that's why you've got to be able to have some sort of run game to slow down the rush. And it's tough on the tackles to continue to have to kick out and block the edge rushers, But, again, we need to go back and evaluate the run game and figure ways to run the football. I don't know. I want to watch the film before I'm ready to say something like that. Again, when you look at a sack, everybody wants to look at the offensive line. Did the quarterback hold the ball too long? I think there were some situations like that. There were some situations we didn't get open down the field. May have had a busted route, may not run the right thing. There are a lot of situations when you have a sack. It's not just the offensive line's fault every time it happens. That's the easiest thing to say, but that's not always the offensive line's fault. If we're in a 1-back protection or a 2-back protection, then the backs block right. There's a lot of things that happen as far as protection issues are concerned, and that's not always on the offensive line. Just to see the game better. We didn't feel like we were getting the information right, searching for some answers at this time offensively to try and find out what we can do well. And that was something we felt like we could benefit from. Well, again, I thought we gave up. We didn't get lined up a couple times and some tempo issues there late, and that's something we've worked on. We're prepared for, but you got to make some stops in the red zone. You got to force field goals when they're in those situations. So that's about where it is. Yeah, it's disappointing. You're exactly right. You felt good about, you get the kickoff return, you get some points on the board, you get some momentum for your team. Then we laid on the ground twice. We only get 1 turnover defensively. And we just had some critical mistakes and critical times. We got to make those plays. I told them, the last 2 ball games, the bottom line is Auburn and Georgia made those plays and we didn't. And we're going to have our opportunities, and when we get in those situations, we need to make the plays. Well, that's the way it is all the time with me. I don't ever really talk about the SEC race. I talk about what we got to do to get better as a program every day and stay the course with what we're trying to do. So it's not always about just the SEC race. We don't always talk about that. We understand our goal at the beginning of the season. We understand our expectation. University of Florida has to go to Atlanta. So our job is, as a competitor, you go out every day, whether you're a coach or you're a player, you work hard to get better and you work hard to improve yourself, and that's what we're going to do. Well, again, we just felt like, field position-wise at the time, flipped the field, we went 3 and out, we got the ball back in better field position. So, then again, you're at 4th and 10. We're down to 1 timeout, and was worried about time on the clock, and we felt like we had a situation we could hit it. So, this didn't work. No, I don't really think about losing a whole lot. But, obviously it's happened, so we've got to regroup and reevaluate where we are. We need to move forward. It's disappointing, and I believe there's no more disappointed or impatient than I am. So we've got to evaluate ourselves, first of all, starting with me, and then we work from there. I felt good the whole game. I felt like we were in a situation to go win the football game. We had the ball late in the game to win the game. That's what you want to be in these situations, and you got to make the plays in those situations to get it done. Again, I'll sit down when the year's over with and evaluate where we are. So that's what I'll do. We're in position. There was a couple well-thrown balls and well-caught balls. Both the touchdowns, they're in position to make the play, and we're playing the ball and trying to get the ball off the guy, and the guy makes a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch. So, there's a couple situations there on scholarship, too. They made nice plays. We got to find a way to get them out, though. I'm always involved, and obviously I didn't do a very good job getting our team ready for tonight. Well, again, I think there's 2 different parts of penalties are concerned, and some of them are undisciplined, and those are the ones that are tough to deal with. And, I've got to do a better job with the others, so I'll work on it. No, I don't. I think we're close. I think we got to build our numbers back. I think we got to get better on the line of scrimmage. I think it's very difficult to run a power running game with what we want to try and do right now with who we have. And I like the guys we got, but it's just the bottom line of, you look at some situations of where we are. It doesn't take anybody real educated to figure it out right now. Sometimes it does.